Canadians with roots in Zimbabwe have been following this news closely, wondering how their families back in the country may be affected by these changes. We're joined tonight by Belinda Fernandez, a Canadian citizen born in Zimbabwe. Welcome to you.
Thank you very much.
So you've been in Canada 17 years. You left in 1999.
I left in 1999. Okay. I was in the UK and then I came to Canada.
Okay. What was your reaction when you heard that Robert Mugabe resigned?
Euphoric. I just could not believe it. I was shaking, I was crying, I could barely speak. The first thing I did was I went to church and lit a candle and said, thank you, God. Let this be the start of something new.
Why the elation over him leaving?
Because nobody thought this day would come. You know, people have been waiting, people voted, the elections, people say were rigged, and he didn't want to resign. He said he would never resign. If he ever left, it would be because it was God's will. And nobody ever thought this day would come.
Did you leave because of him?
No, I went to the UK on a working holiday. And while I was there, they started all the land grabs. And my family said they didn't think it was a good idea to come back. And so I made the decision to immigrate and come to Canada as a skilled worker.
What was it like? I mean, this was a man who was a hero for so long, who led Zimbabwe, you know, out of the horrors of white minority rule into independence.
That's right.
What went wrong?
I think it's the corruption and the greed, you know, the desire for power. I mean, they let him do what he did. I feel the international community is also to blame because he bought properties all over the world. He was going to Singapore for his treatments, and people accepted him. I mean, he spoke this year at the UN. So, you know, it's complicated because he himself has said that he didn't want the money flowing out of the country the way it did. But there's no answer. There's no one answer. It's complicated. It's the history.
What was it like living in Zimbabwe under his rule?
Initially, it was wonderful. You know, there was a sense of reconciliation, a desire to move forward. But then when England didn't pay the money for the Lancaster agreements, the land grabs started happening because people became impatient. So at first it was good, but it quickly deteriorated. And, you know, areas that are once were posh have now been run down. There's a lot of corruption. Unless you live in an area that the government takes care of you, there's no water, there's no electricity. Ordinary people really, really suffered under his rule.
No water, no electricity, little food, as I understand it?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, things changed once they got the goods coming in from South Africa. But, you know, there was no money in the banks. People used to sleep outside the banks waiting to take out $20 a day. And yet you have this, on the other hand, people flying all over the world in their jets. Right? So the ordinary person really, really suffered.
Do you think it'll make a difference if the ZANU-PF, his party, stays in power, or do you think Mugabe gone is enough?
Well, I think they know that there has to be change, right? It's not enough that he's gone. They know that they need the international community, they need the investments to start coming in, they need the corruption to stop. They know that. So I don't think it's enough that Mr. Mugabe has gone. I think there has to be real change, and there has to be a desire for them to work for the good of the people.
What do you think of the way it all went down with Chiwenga, the head of the army, actually facilitating the whole thing?
I think it was very strategic. It was very well done. The fact that they didn't lose any lives, that it was peaceful, that people went out, their voices were heard, I personally think it was done very, very well. I think if it had just been left without the military control, there would have been a lot of violence and bloodshed.
But tonight we had a reporter on the ground say that Zimbabwe is like a headless chicken tonight.
That's right.
There's no one in charge.
That's right.
Yeah. So what happens now?
It's anybody's guess.
Could it be the vice president comes back?
It could be.
And
It
do you think the people would accept that, or do you think that there might be problems on the street in this vacuum as people run to try to fill it? There might be competition for power.
You know, I'm not sure. ZANU-PF has always been in power in Zimbabwe, so I don't know. Nobody knows how it's going to play out, and that's what I am waiting to see. That's what my family is waiting to see, because we really don't know. I mean, maybe it will be ZANU-PF that continues. Maybe there'll be a unity government with people like Pastor Evan that come in, but we really don't know. We have to wait and see.
What is your wit? Well, tell me about your family. You know, do you have family still in Zimbabwe?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what are they telling you?
They're telling me that they can't believe that this day came. They, you know, after all the killings, the corruption, so many people got hurt, they just cannot believe that this day has arrived, because nobody thought that he would step down. And my family, I have a mom here. She was widowed at the age of 28. So she's here, and my brother's in the UK. I have a sister here as well. And I am very grateful to Canada for taking me in as a skilled worker. But my hope is that things will change in Zimbabwe for the better. Because, you know, personally, I never thought that I would leave the country. When I went to the UK on a working holiday, my desire was always to go back, to live in Zimbabwe, to have my life there. And it was just heartbreaking. It was just heartbreaking when they allowed people to just go and do whatever they want and take over farms and come in and say, this is not yours anymore, it's ours. You know, to live with that kind of fear and your homes being broken into. You call the police, they say there's no petrol, we can't come to take a report.
So what's your vision of the future, and would you go back to Zimbabwe?
Yes.
Yes.
I would go back if there was an opportunity, if there were jobs available, if, you know, the country returned to what it was. You know, but it's going to take a long, long, long time. Right? I mean, for now, I'm here. I'm a citizen of Canada. But if anybody asks me, would you go back? My answer is yes.
And what would you go back to? What's your vision of what Zimbabwe could be?
What it could be is what it was, right? It could be the breadbasket of Africa. It could be a place where people of different nationalities live together in peace, with law and order, with justice for everybody. Because that was what Rhodesia fought for. That was what UDI was about. It doesn't have to be the way that it is. But we need the support of the international community. We need people to say, you can't do this again. We need people to also honor their agreements, because what happened with Lancaster wasn't right. And I think if it had been handled differently, if they had paid the money and they had done the willing buyer, willing seller policy, I think Mr. Mugabe wouldn't have been as hurt as he was, and I don't think it would have gone to this extreme. But my vision and my hope and my prayer is that the country will be built up, because right now, I don't know if you saw the cartoon from the Globe and Mail about the carcass, and there's Mugabe there with the vulture's wing. Pushing, yeah, that's what it is. There's nothing. There's nothing left. I mean, unless you're in an area where the white people are taking care of it, and you're in a tourist area that is being maintained, there's nothing left.
All right. Well, I look forward to hearing from you when you go back to Zimbabwe for a visit, if nothing else. And I hope all your wishes and prayers come true. Belinda Fernandez, a Canadian citizen born in Zimbabwe, thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Okay.